All right, guys, this is Kelly from Hills Deals and Wheels Mobile Home Investing Course. And this lovely young lady right here reached out to me and she said, "Hey, Kelly, I got something to present to your students. Number one, she is a mobile home investor. And number two, she is a mortgage loan originator." Now, those of you who don't know what a mortgage loan originator is, I'm going to let her break it down for y'all. But there are not that many mortgage loan originators in the United States. Am I telling the truth, Jessica, or not?
Well, no, we have tons of mortgage loan originators. They're with banks, private lenders, things like that, but very few of them may be mobile home investors as well.
They,
So, a two-in-one is what I'm doing here that can probably help your clients or some of your investors get funding for their buyers if they need that. So it's a
okay.
win-win, I think.
All right. So, Jessica, go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody.
Well, hi guys. My name is Jessica Edmond, and like she stated, Kelly, I am a mortgage loan originator with Nexa Mortgage. So we do single family homes as far as finding funding for anybody who's interested in funding. We have down payment assistance programs, and then on the mobile home side, I also do what's called chattel loans. So most people think that they cannot move or purchase a mobile home that has to be moved, but chattel loans are just that. You can get financing for a mobile home that you can move to your own property or if it's inside of a mobile home park. So a lot of people may not know that. And if you have borrowers who have trouble with seller financing or don't have the cash readily available, then they can try a chattel loan to help them purchase that home and get you some more sales a lot faster.
Okay, so Jessica, I'm sure people are gonna ask, what does your credit score have to be in order to get the chattel loan?
Well, we have scores as low as 550. But of
550.
course, the dollar amount for that is a little bit higher. It's about 65K. So if you have a more newer mobile home, maybe coming from a manufacturer or something like that, we can get financing for you for that. If your credit score is a little bit higher, maybe a 660, 700, then the dollar amount is a little bit lower, maybe as low as about 45K.
Gotcha. And so this will pay for the move too, or
It will pay for the move only if it comes from a mobile home manufacturer. Now, if it's mom and pop just selling their mobile home, because they're ready to upgrade or downgrade, no, it won't pay for that move, but it will pay for it if it comes from a manufacturer.
so regardless of the year of the mobile home, if it's in a mom and pop, or what about a yes community? Will still won't do it.
Well, yeah, not the move. No, it has to come from like a Clayton Homes or Birchfield, Berkshire, one of those places. It can only be financed if that through that way. If not, it has to come from the sellers or the buyer's personal funds.
Wow. And what years are we talking? Because we know there are some mobile homes that are getting a little older that's sitting on a dealer's lot. What year, how old can the mobile home be?
Well, it doesn't matter the year, but when you go through financing, you do have to make sure that it is appraised at the value that the appraisal sets. So appraisal is done, so we can make sure that you're not overpaying for the home.
Okay. And so you just do the home, you don't do the land too,
I
or
do the land, but that's more on the single family side, because then the title is considered detitled, and then we can sell the land and the mobile home together if we're doing a single family home where the purchase may be like 145 or something like that. But we offer both options just in case you do have it on land or if you don't have it on land. There's availability and financing for both options.
mm-hmm. And how long are these loans? How long could they? I know it fluctuates. What is the maximum?
The maximum term for a chattel loan is 30 years, but you might not need 30 years. You might need 5. You might need 10. It just depends on your financial situation and what you tell me you want to do. Because of course, the longer the term, the lower the payment. But if your
Okay.
house is, roughly $50,000, it shouldn't take you 30 years to pay it off.
Okay. All right. And how long does somebody need to be on their job? Or do they have to have a job?
Yes, you have to have a job because it is financing. So we have to prove that you're able to afford the mobile home or the single family home, whichever route you want to go. But if you're doing single family, that standard is a 2 year. Well, both of them are a 2 year requirement. So you have to have a 2 year continuous employment history.
Okay. All right. So are there any other I wouldn't say loopholes because I mean what you're saying is just common sense. You got to have a job. Your credit score has to
Right.
be decent. You can't be
Right.
buying an old model mobile home. This is not going to work with that. What do people do if they have an older model mobile home? Just deal with the seller, hoping the seller could sell a finance?
Yeah, they could seller finance, but sometimes with seller financing, if you miss a payment or you violate that contract, then it's like you have to start all the way over. At least with financing, they do give you grace periods and things like that if you can't come up with your mortgage payment, right on the first or whatever date that's selected for your monthly payment. But it's a better option and a more secure option to go through, financing through a mortgage company opposed to a seller financing, because that's kind of like just you and the seller agreeing upon some terms that may or may not, you know what I'm saying, that may happen. And you just want to make sure that the buyer is secure in what they're purchasing and nothing happens to their funds that they already put into the mobile home.
Okay. Would is it frowned upon to have somebody look to get a loan from you guys and they're only interested in financing the home and the land belongs to somebody else? How does that work out?
Yeah, no, that's not frowned upon. That's what the chattel loan is specifically for. It's a loan on the actual mobile home and not the land. So it's clear that the land is not owned by the buyer. So it allows you to purchase, and not only mobile homes, but we do like tractor trailers and things like that. That's what chattel loans are for. They finance um, the actual item and not the land. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Okay. All right then. All right. And so you started off as a mobile home investor, and then how soon did you get into becoming a mortgage loan originator?
Well, I've always was interested in mobile homes, and I started probably about 6 years ago, just doing a lot of research, trying to figure out, because that book, I think it's called Deals on Wheels or something like that. I stumbled upon that book and I started reading into it, and then I started, farming and sourcing my area here in Columbia, South Carolina, just to find out, what it's all about. I reached out to a few mobile homes, parks, and of course, some of them were not investor friendly, some were. So I just kind of navigated into that space. And then I kind of took a pause and went and got my real estate or my mortgage loan origination license. And then I decided to go, single family, because that was the thing to do, because I've always been in like finance, and I've always wanted to do something else in finance to help have affordable housing. So I did that. And now that I'm learning about chattel loans, because I didn't know anything about them, prior to me becoming a mortgage loan originator, I was like, really? So people can, get a loan and have the mobile home moved. It doesn't have to be on a solid permanent foundation, because when you're in as a mortgage loan originator, they tell you, oh, it has to be detitled, it has to be on a permanent foundation, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And then I stumbled, one of my other colleagues said, no, you can get chattel loans too. And I'm like, what is that? So then I started researching more into that. And then I was like, well, since I kind of do mobile homes as an investor, let me see how I can, help the buyers, help their clients, secure these mobile homes if they're not able to, have the cash readily available.
Okay. And so, Jessica, when you were just strictly doing mobile homes, what was your strategy? Was you fixing and flipping, wholesaling? What was your
No,
strategy?
mine was fix and flip. So I've done a couple of I'm sorry, not fix and flip, wholesales. I was doing a couple of wholesales because I really wasn't sure how to do the fix and flip portion of it yet. I was not ready to get in there and rip out the flooring and rip out the walls and things like that and find contractors. So I was like, well, let me just take the most simplest route and do wholesaling. So I've done a couple of those. And then I decided to take Calvin's class because I do a lot of behind the scenes work, being a mortgage loan originator. You talk to people on the phone all day, you do lots of emails, lots of typing, lots of calculating figures. So I took his class so I could kind of expand wholesaling in different states.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of people who wholesale in different states that don't see the property, they're able to get these under contract and make an assignment fee or commission off of it, and they haven't even set foot in another county or another state. So I thought that was very interesting, and that would be more aligned with what I'm doing right now. And then once I decide to do a fix and flip, then I might dibble and dabble in a fix and flip. But right now it's just wholesaling in various states.
Okay. So Jessica, can you share with us some numbers from any wholesale deal that you've done? Maybe give us the best one. Give us the best one and give us the worst one.
Well, my worst and my best one, not as far as numbers though. Not recently, about a year ago, I put up some bandit signs and somebody gave me a call and he was talking to me that he wanted his mobile home moved. It was like a 1982 mobile home. And we got to pricing and he wanted it for $200. So I went right to the bank, got $200, gave it to him. He gave me the title. And then I turned around and sold it for $4,000. I tried 8, it didn't work. So I, knocked the number down a little bit, $4,000. So I had a buyer come. She was ready to pay $4,000. And at that time I was, didn't know. I took her moving money also. And I told her I had a mover. I paid the mover, got a receipt. But then her location to where the mobile home was supposed to go fell through. So now I have this mobile home, which I'm really out of it, right? I have this mobile home sitting on this man's property, and it didn't get moved until 9 months later.
Whoa.
Right. So I'm in communication with him. I'm in communication with her because I'm not the type of person that's just going to do a deal and then leave it on them to figure out. I started it. I felt like I was involved and I needed to help this lady either find another place for it to go or to help the seller do something. So in the midst of all of that, I told the buyer, I said, well, you have this mobile home sitting on this man's lot. You're going to have to pay him lot rent. So she paid him $500 a month in lot rent just to have this mobile home sitting there. She didn't live in it. She didn't do anything. She just needed to have it moved. So finally, she got with somebody else and they was able to find someone else to purchase it from her. And then they were able to have it moved. But even the move was a doozy because I went up there, took a look at everything. And when I tell you, it took those guys about 4 to 5 hours to move that mobile home. And it was in such a tight spot. I don't even know how they got that mobile home in there to begin with, but it's been sitting there since 1982. So that just tells you how long it's been sitting there. And they finally moved it and everything was a success. And I'm glad I was done with that deal.
Wow. So that was your worst deal due to the fact it sat there for 9 months.
Yes.
But he made out like a bandit because he wasn't expecting no lot rent. Or was he expecting another mobile home to move in there?
No, he just wanted it. He just wanted it vacant. He does not have a new mobile home going there. He just wanted it gone.
Okay.
And thank God for that.
Yeah. And with all that said and done, you still got $4,000 off of a deal that you paid $200 for. Like you said, you ran to the bank.
$3,800. Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Yeah, 38. Because you got out of the bank. So I try to tell people all the time that it costs no money whatsoever to wholesale. Of course, you need a car, right? You need a car, you need the internet, you need some kind of imagination, because it was you that came to her and said, you got to pay this man something.
Right. Right. And that's why I kind of had to stay involved with it because she would not have realized that she needed to pay lot rent there. And then I felt bad that it stayed there. So I talked to him about it because I didn't want him to get irate and upset and say, oh no, I need this, home move now, and he was a really, really nice gentleman. Him and his wife were, absolutely God-fearing, in the church. So they were very patient with us. And being that he was getting that $500 a month, I guess that helped, settle his anxiety or from getting upset or anything like that. But it worked out in our favor. It just took a little longer than I expected. But hey, everybody won in the end. So that was a good thing.
Yeah, that was a blessing. So that was your worst deal, which to me is not really bad because you got paid up front, right? So
yes, I did. But it's just the length of time it took is just a lot.
Right. And you didn't leave them hanging. So that was a good thing. So what is your best deal? Explain to us your best deal when it came to wholesaling.
Well, my best deal was in Sumter, South Carolina. It's still about 45 minutes away from where I am right now. And there are a few mobile home parks out there that are kind of like abandoned parks. I don't know if they're revamping the park or whatever, but I was able to find 2 out there for $500, and I was able to sell them for $7,000. And those transitions were really easy because I didn't have to go in and fix anything. Again, I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and I got a couple of buyers who were interested in, flipping them themselves, which was good. And that worked out. So I made, what's that, $6,500 on both of those.
Wow.
So that was good. I haven't made like 10,000 plus yet, but I'm still working on it, trying to find the deal because I got to, negotiate a little bit down from what my original prices are. But it's all about negotiating and building those relationships.
Right. And so, Jessica, when you go inside a property, of course, everybody wants more money. What do you do to try to kind of negotiate them down and let them know, hey, I mean, I think you're shooting for the moon on this one. What do you say to them to keep the price lower, get the price lower, because you have to get them lower in order that you make some money?
Right. So I just do a walkthrough, and I make sure I kind of pull the sofas out and everything from the wall, because that's usually where the soft spots are. And I kind of walk back there, or I ask them, hey, tell me about the house. Do you have any soft spots? Tell me when the last time, you had your roof updated. How's the plumbing? How's the electrical? Because those are all the main things that cost a lot in somebody having to repair those if you're trying to wholesale it. Because if you're trying to wholesale it and the electricity is not working properly, that's going to cost them a lot of money, which may not be beneficial to the new buyer. So I go in and do, walk through, make sure the walls are okay, the roof doesn't have any water spots, is not leaking or anything like that, to find out. And if I do see those things, then, I kind of, oh, well, you have some soft spots in the floor, whatever your dollar amount is, somebody has to get that fixed. It may cost X amount of dollars. And then I kind of chisel away at it that way to let them know you have a nice house, but there's a lot of repairs that do need to be done to it. Can we negotiate on this price? And 9 times out of 10, they'd be like, oh yeah, we can do it.
Okay, then. All right.
Yeah, that's pretty easy going.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Jessica, do you notice like during the winter months, it kind of slows up, or because it's
yeah. Because I guess because of the holidays and just a lot of people aren't buying, because it's been, last year was really slow on both sides, actually, on the lending side and also in investing with mobile homes. But hopefully, tax time season, everybody's getting their refund checks and things will start to pick back up, February, March, because usually around March is when things start to pick back up a little bit, because people are out looking and searching for new homes.
Some income tax checks as
right.
well.
Exactly.
And you know what, Jessica, I notice a lot of people who they grasp the concept of wholesaling. Once they grasp it, then they're afraid that the seller and the buyer are going to meet. What do you have to say about that? Do you care?
Well, at first I was the same way until I took Calvin's class, and he was like, you have built the relationship in a short amount of time with the seller. So you have the knowledge and the know-how, because they really don't understand and know what's happening. So they come to you as the expert to kind of talk to the buyer of how things are supposed to go. So I haven't had a sale where the seller and the buyer have met, but he has had plenty of them. And it makes complete sense to me that he's had some situations where both of them met. And, sometimes you may think, oh, I'm going to sell it for this amount, buy it from you for this amount and sell it for the seller, then that they don't really care, because they're just trying to get rid of it. And they're like, I don't mind if you make a few dollars off of it. And that's what he has taught us in that class. So I have yet to kind of try that strategy to see how it works. Because like you say, in the beginning, I was a little afraid. I was like, oh no, they can't meet. They might try to undercut me or go through the back door and try to take the deal away from me. So if I do get one of those, I'll let you know how it worked out.
All right. So Jessica, in order to wholesale, is there a license that you need? I tell people all the time, no, but I want you to tell everybody. Do you need a license?
No, okay. Because mobile homes aren't real property. They are personal property. So you don't need a license to wholesale personal property. Now, when you get onto the real estate side, where it's detitled and it becomes real property, it's attached to land, then yes, you need a real estate license to do those things. and a mortgage loan origination license in order to, get financing for those. But as far as this, as long as it's personal property, no, you do not need a license or certification to sell those.
Okay. And so how many mobile homes where you live in South Carolina, how many mobile homes can you own before you need a license? Because here in the state of Texas, they call it a RBI license. We're not realtors either, but we have a retailers, brokers, and installers license. What do you call it in South Carolina?
It's just called a wholesaler's license, but here's the difference, and this is what wholesalers do versus I think what you're talking about. Wholesalers never put the property in their name. So as long as you do not put the property in your name, then it doesn't account for you wholesaling per se by law of a property. You're just the middleman facilitating the assignment between two people. Now, if you are in South Carolina, which is where I am, if you put the title in your name and then you sell it to somebody else, there is a cap. And I think our cap is 5 mobile homes. If that's the case, or 5 personal properties, whether it's car or a mobile home, once you get to 5, then you are now considered like a wholesale dealer. So you would need to go through the steps through the DMV and get a license for that.
Gotcha.
Right.
Because I try to tell people, they said, well, what is the name of what I'm trying to do? You're not really a wholesaler because you're trying to buy and hold a mobile home. And it's a different name depending upon what state you're trying to do in, because I don't think anybody else is a RBI except for the state of Texas, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I think here it's called a wholesale dealer. You're a dealer.
Yeah, there's different names everywhere. It's all different. And do you know if there's a test, Jessica, in order to?
I did read up on it, and I do not believe that there was a test. There's just a lot of steps you had to go through in order to become a wholesale dealer in South Carolina, but no test.
Okay.
It's not like a certification or anything like that. It's just you signing up to the DMV, letting them know that you're going to be selling personal property more than 5,
Right.
Yeah.
And you guys close deals at the DMV? You check for liens and stuff at the DMV, or how do you go about doing that?
We I do deals at the DMV or at the bank to get things notarized and stuff like that, and just make the transaction easier so I can make the deposit, quick and easy. But as far as titles, no, when I'm doing them through wholesale. Okay. But if you're doing it through a chattel loan, then yes, because we have to make sure there's no lien on it, nobody owes or anything on it. So yes, through the chattel loans, there will be a title process. But wholesaling as an investor, no.
Okay. Well, let's get to how you go about being a mortgage loan originator. And then after that, maybe you can tell people more of the services that you offer and how they can go about contacting you. So I'll let you have a mic.
Okay, so if anybody wants to become a mortgage loan originator, you could reach out to me and then I can help you get on the path to that. But it's a very strenuous process, I will say, because each state requires a license for you to be a mortgage loan originator, depending on whether you work for a bank or if you work for a retail broker or a regular broker. You have to have a license. So you have to take a class. And in that class, they give you a lot of information, but it's not enough for you to pass the test. So it's highly recommended from my experience that you attach yourself to maybe another class that's teaching you the intricate details of becoming a mortgage loan originator. For myself personally, I took my class through MEC, and that class was 8 hours long. It was great. I thought I needed everything that I thought I knew everything that I would need for the test. But luckily I found this Facebook group, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but if later I'll put it in the group or let you know what it is. They drilled you every week. They had online classes. It was an amazing class. I mean, I had this board of printouts. It is so much information that you have to know and learn to be a mortgage loan originator, because there are so many loans that we can, get for people. It's just a lot of information. So it'll probably take you 6 months to a year to learn and retain all of that information in order to pass this test successfully. Because as records show, or the percentages now that are out, 51% of people who apply to be a mortgage loan originator fail the first time.
Mhm.
That's over 50%. So that just lets you know how difficult the test is in, trying to study for it, know the concepts, and pass. Thank God I passed it on the first try. I studied and studied and studied. I was so scared to take that test because, you hear all the negative stuff and you're like, oh my God, do I know everything? And I think the test is 125 questions and you have no idea what they're going to ask you. Absolutely no idea from all of the information that you have to study, from laws, RESPA, TRILA, to how to calculate debt to income ratio, DPA assistance. It's just a lot of information, but it's worth having if you have the passion to help people find affordable housing and things like that. So it's just up to you if you're interested in doing that. Then once you take the test, then you have to pay for your licensure through the NMLS. And then depending on which state, each state has different requirements. So for like South Carolina, I only had to take an 8-hour course. I'm also licensed in North Carolina. I had to take an 8-hour course plus an additional 1-hour course. And for each state that you would like to be licensed in, you have to pay for it or take whatever required testing it is for them. So some states, if you take the 1 8-hour exam, you can be licensed in several states because that's all they require. But the only thing is you just have to pay the NMLS for each license in each state. So some people will have 13 licenses, some will have 2, some will have 50. But I believe those who have 50 work for more like banks, because banks, it does go through the NMLS system, but they are not required to take the test, which is beneficial for them. So sometimes you have to know the difference between a bank mortgage loan originator versus a retail broker like I am, a broker like I am, and then a retail loan officer, which is a different category. So there's a lot of different categories within the MLO realm that you have to understand. And once I got in, I understood, because I started out as a retail loan officer, and then I left there and went to the broker side.
Okay. Jessica, you mentioned bank versus what you do. So do you have to work under anybody? Of course, at a
No,
bank, I know there's probably going to be some training, but the way you're doing it on the broker side, you don't work under anybody.
correct. So with the banking side, yeah, you work for Wells Fargo, Bank of America, you're employed with them, you get a W-2, you work 8 hours a day, or however many hours you work for them. They usually have a lot of leads that come in via phone calls. So when you get multiple loan officers that give you a call from the same company, it's because you're pretty much in a pool of people who have called, and that's more so of a call center type mortgage loan origination situation. Retail is more like I would say Rocket Mortgage is probably more like the bank. So I'm trying to give you an example of one that's retail, where they're not a bank, but they also do loans. So I used to work for a company called Silverton Mortgage. They're more of a retail. I worked strictly for them. I was a W-2 employee. I had to go out and recruit my own loans, though. They did not provide leads or anything for me. So whatever, I did, that's what I made. And it was through them. As a broker, I pretty much work for myself. So I have to provide my own leads. It's a system where you have tons of lenders that you can work with, the ones that are more in line with your borrowers. If you have borrowers who need down payment assistance, then, we have lenders that deal with down payment assistance. If you have non-citizens, then we have lenders that deal with that, because not every lender does everything. And I always tell people, all lenders are not created equal, right? So just to say, on the single family home side, if you are looking for a mortgage and one person, like a bank, says, oh, I can't approve you, but then you come to me as a broker and I can approve you, it's because each entity has what they call overlays. Overlays are specific requirements for that particular entity that they put on top of the federal guidelines that makes them not better than another entity, but that's just what they require. That's their requirements, and they're called overlays.
Okay. All right. So, Jessica, did you want to add anything? Because we ready for your contact number if you ready to give it. Because boy, you sound like a very smart lady. Matter of fact, you are the third mortgage loan originator that I ever interviewed. I actually interviewed a young lady that was out in California who was killing the game as well. Do you
Okay.
want to add your contact information, or any information that you can help somebody who's trying to get a loan? Do you want to add anything?
Yes. So I know I came on here for chattel loans because we're talking about mobile homes, but I'll just let you know that we do single family mortgages. We do loans that are like DSCRs. So if you're an investor and you have rental income, we do those. We do bank statement loans. It's just a whole host of loans that I can probably give it to you more better in a flyer that you can share with your students online. And then of course the chattel loans for the mobile home side. So my contact information, I can be emailed at Edmond, that's EDMOND, at Nexa Mortgage, NEXA mortgage.com. Or you can give me a call at 803-674-3514.
Okay.
I'm on all social media platforms as the Carolina MLO.
Okay. And so before we go, because you didn't mention something about rentals and you got me excited. What can you do for somebody like me and my family? We all about renting our mobile homes out. Is there something that you could do to help us, or what?
Not with rentals, because again, it's personal property. It's not real estate. Now, if you were doing a single family of some sort of condo, a single family home, a duplex, multiplex, yes, we can help you with financing for that, but not an investor with a mobile home that is fine, that is renting. Right. Right. So again, if you as an investor have a borrower who's interested in purchasing, then you can do it that way. Or you yourself could do it that way, and then you can kind of rent it out and do whatever you want to do, as long as no, it has to be a primary residence. I'm sorry. It has to be a primary residence in order for you to do a chattel loan. So rentals for mobile homes on chattel loans, no. But on the single family side, yes.
Okay. Well, let's just keep it real right now for 1 second, because I don't know if you know what I'm about to ask you, but let's just keep it real for 1 second. How would y'all know if the primary person is living in that house or not?
Well, see, we really wouldn't know, but then I'm not trying to lose my license for mortgage fraud.
Right. Right. But I'm just saying, it ain't like y'all knock on the door periodically. Oh, is Kelly here? You're not doing that. So
right.
how would
No, I know I'm not. That part I don't know. I always ask that question even on the single family side, because you have people who try to, use their VA benefits, for example, to purchase an investment property, which sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But if you tell me that you are using it for a rental, then it's my due diligence to, not to tell you the right thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's keeping it real. If you tell me, I'm not going to do it just to get a check, because I'm not losing my license for nobody,
Okay. I thought it was some kind of chattel loan investigator to come and knock on the door every year or two. So anyway.
Not that I'm aware of. No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Well, Jessica, give them that contact information and your email one more time, and I greatly appreciate you getting on here.
All right. You can email me at jedmond, that's with an O, at nexamortgage.com. That's NEXA mortgage.com. And then my telephone number is 803-674-3514. And then also, if it's okay, I'll send you a flyer specifically for the chattel loans. Then that way you can kind of post it and they can have that information. And it also has the requirements that are needed if anyone's interested in getting a loan, a chattel loan.
Please do.